later than usual, but that's just me, isn't it? I'm sorry about that, but here we go. Let's find us on the big screen, and it's that time of week again. It's My Family Garden Saturday Night Live. So let's see who comes in to join us. Um, we've had a busy day in the garden today. We've been doing loads of harvesting. We've had one of the biggest harvests of the year so far, and we've picked some really nice crops. Something that always we always grow a lot of, and it does really well for us. So that's our first big harvest, and we'll get a video out very soon of that. Let's see who's coming to join us. Dean, how are you doing? Thank you very much for coming in. Laura, how are you doing? Thank you very much for coming in. You just got in from watering your tomatoes. I just got in as well. We just been harvesting something. We've been actually harvesting one of our biggest crops of the year. Something that we grow a lot of, and you'll see that video very soon. So I'm not going to tell you what we've been harvesting, but I'm sure you'll be. But I'm sure because of the season, you'll know what it is. Anyway, let's see who else has come in. So, Davey, how are you doing, mate? Thank you very much for coming in. Stephen Jenkins, how are you doing? Thank you very much for coming in. Hope you're all keeping well. We can tell you. See, I was out in the garden with my sandals on. So I came home and came inside, and my feet were covered in mud, really mucky. So I've just so I needed a proper wash before I came on. Rose, how are you doing, Karen? I hope you're keeping well. No problem at all. I'm glad I could help. I hope everything's sorted now. See, um, they've just made it a little bit more difficult. You know, things on YouTube with AdSense and claiming the tax discount. I mean, we're lucky that we're in I mean, the UK and America have a tax treaty, so we're not going to get taxed, and we're not going to lose an additional cut on top of what they're already reducing the pittance that YouTube pay. Um, Nitin, wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. Thank you very much for coming in. Um, down down in a very wet Kent, bit different from last week. See, we had a bit of a rain yesterday, but well, we had a decent rain yesterday. It looked like about half an hour ago the sky went black and it looked like it was going to rain again. But hopefully we've got rain forecast tomorrow. I hope it does rain because the ground really needs that water. Uh, H Kagzi, hope you're doing well. Thank you very much for coming in. I'm glad you love the channel. Would like to know about composting in winter, please. New to gardening, would love some help. Thank you. Um, when you say composting in winter, what country are you in? Um, so Karen's birthday was yesterday, and I think like Dean, happy birthday, Karen. Hope you had a great day. Um, it was cute hearing the kids shouting it. Any tips for a new allotment? Just applied 4 weeks ago for an allotment. Got a call last night to say half a plot might be coming up next weekend. Should I, and would I be interested? Yeah. First tip is definitely take it. Definitely get that allotment. Get it. Yeah. Get that allotment. Definitely. But if you're going to get an allotment and if it's overgrown, just handle it a little bit by bit. You know, don't try and tackle the whole lot in one go unless you've got loads of time on your hand. So if you've got a little bit, take a little chunk at a time. Prepare a bed, get that, prepare a bed, get that planted, then move on to your next bit. And then it's not going to be too daunting if you try and tackle the whole thing, because if you try and de-weed the whole thing and clean it all up, by the time you're finished and you're starting to prepare your first bed, the rest of it's starting to overgrow again. But that's the way I do it. I do it in sections, one by bit. There's still plenty of things that you can plant. I mean, loads of pretty much all your salads you can still plant, still plant all the way up until the end of August quite comfortably. Beetroot, lettuce, um, spinach, those kind of things. Keep planting those all the way till the end of August. Start planting your winter brassicas, your cabbages, your kales, pak choy, radishes. If you've got clay soil, get loads and loads of radishes planted in the ground. That'll help break up the clay soil as well. Just leave them in the ground to rot over winter. Let them grow a little bit, cut them down to the ground level, let them rot in the ground, and they'll break down, and they'll 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 dig your soil for you, and then when they rot in the ground, they'll just create a compost corridor for you. Let's see who else is coming in. Let's say hello to a few more people. So Muhammad, wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. Thank you very much for coming in. Alan Taggart, thank you very much from all the way in Northern Ireland. Hope you're keeping well. What's the weather like over there at the moment? Um, so Laura's still waiting for rain. We had a little. Laura, whereabouts are you? Um, oh, so H Cags here in London. Composting in winter's easy. I mean, when towards the end of the season, as you're taking up all your spent plants, and you're taking up all your dying plants, and all your hedge trimmings and all your grass clippings and all of those things, collect loads of leaves, collect loads of brown matter cardboard, horse manure if you can get it, any other kind of chicken bedding or anything like that if you can get it. Um, the best compost bin that I like, I mean, the compost bin that I like is probably the cheapest and the simplest to make as well. Just four pallets tied together, staked into the ground, and just pile everything in there. Pile it in layers. I've got loads of videos. I've got a really good video, a mini series on composting. So it starts from starting the pile initially, setting it up, getting it set up, and then how to once the compost pile's cooked for a couple of months, how to reheat that pile so it cooks over again. And then once you've finished cooking the pile and you've got your harvested compost, how to actually use the compost. So there's a little mini series. Do go and check that out. And I've also got a really good video called Composting Secrets Revealed, and that basically gives you pretty much all my composting tips there. So do go and have a look at that. Bobby, how are you doing? Thank you very much for coming in. Hope you're keeping well. Another one of my leads, massive. Let's see who else is here. Yeah, me and Karen were on the phone yesterday, and the kids sang "Happy Birthday" down the. Oh, that's lovely, Dean. That's absolutely lovely. You're a big softie, aren't you? He's a proper softie, Dean, isn't he? Lee, thank you very much for coming in. Um, Second best looking Dean on YouTube. uh, who was the first? Um, who's the first best looking Dean? Let's see. Brilliant tip about clay soil and radishes. That would be very helpful on our plot. See, um, Lee, if you go for a lot of cover crops, the thing about any soil, the key is to improve it is organic matter, and we're coming to we're coming to the full harvesting season, but if you want to prepare your soil for next season, then start thinking about getting things that you can plant into the ground for to build organic matter. So I like a lot of legumes. So I plant a lot of broad beans, and only last year I started eating the actual beans. Before that, I'd wait till they're flowered and just chop them down and leave them to rot on the ground. Um, Leave the roots in the ground. Always, whenever you pull a plant, leave the roots in the ground. Things like tomatoes and potatoes, obviously, you want to pull them up, but with squash and anything like that, leave the roots in the ground and let it rot in the ground. With squash, you don't even have to pull them away. Just just pile them up and leave them on top of the bed, and just let the worms and the winter break it down and take it into the soil. Uh, let's see. Alan, it hasn't rained in 3 weeks. See, we were like that up until yesterday. We got a bit of a decent rain, but not long enough. It wasn't enough to give the ground a proper soaking. Um, I think I'll tell him he's the second best looking Dean because you me. uh, when do I plant elephant garlic? See, I normally go with my garlic around mid October. so mid to end October, that sort of time with all my garlic. I mean, garlic, elephant garlic's actually more of a leek rather than a garlic. Well, it is a leek rather than a garlic. So, Dean, what do you suggest with elephant garlic? Well, that's not the mouse, is it? That I'm trying to stroke. Um, Sophie, thank you very much from Sheffield. I had a wee allotment for a couple of years now, but still no idea what I'm doing. Sophie, where's your allotment? I grew up in Sheffield, so I grew up in Darnell. Yeah, it's a small world. Um, what when you say you've got no idea what you're doing, what do you want to do? What are your hopes with that allotment? Are you trying to grow the maximum amount of food? Are you trying to grow fruit? Are you trying to grow some trees? What are you trying to do? What sort of method do you want to do? Are you a digger? Are you a no digger? Or are you a bit of both like me? uh, Ezra Boxing, how are you? I'm very good, thank you very much. You're enjoying my blogs. I'm glad you're enjoying my blogs. Um, that's very kind of you. Thank you. Stephen Jenkins, how are you doing? Thank you very much for coming in. I'm new at this. Any general advice on watering? How much and when? If you're watering pots, okay, cool. So pizza night tonight. My wife just said. So if you see me rushing off in 10 minutes, then the pizza delivery's here. um, but anyway, so watering. If you're watering pots, easiest way: stick your finger into the soil. If your finger comes out with soil on your finger, then you don't need to water. It's got enough water in there. If the soil feels quite dry, then give it a water. And the way I'd water plants in pots is I'll soak them. So if you can also tell by the weight of them. So if they feel really light, then stick them in a bucket of water and let them properly soak in water. Suck that water in and give them a deep water like that whenever they need it. If you're watering plants in the ground, um, there's a couple of things. If you've got plants that are susceptible to fungal disease, or if you get things like rust, garlic rust quite a bit, then water in the morning, and it gives the plants a chance to dry off overnight, and give them a good water once a week. Properly soak it. Uh, that's better than giving them a shallow water. Um, if you give them a good water like that and let the soil properly soak, then it'll encourage the roots to grow deeper. But if you give them a shallow water, and the roots will always stay around the top, and then they'll be really susceptible to wilting and stuff whenever it's dry. So that's what I'd do. You okay, sweetheart? So my little girl's hiding behind the computer. Come on. No, you can't climb on me. Aww. So let's see. Oh, have you ever tried growing curry leaves plant? I was tried and failed. One of my neighbours. No, that's not a plant I've grown, so I couldn't advise you on that. I don't. It's a plant.
So you make curry out of curry leaves?
Yeah. I'd love to try the radish thing, but I've got a real slug problem. Imagine this could make it worse. If you're planting it at a time when you're not gonna be growing anything else anyway, then I don't think it'll be much of a problem. And also, if you can get some nematodes in your garden, build up the ecosystem that controls your slugs. So nematodes, if you can buy nematodes, use them. You can make your own nematodes for free. Um, Build habitat for things like toads and frogs, and they'll come in and they'll eat your slugs. Have you did that something else?
Hedgehog!
And hedgehogs, yeah, absolutely. I've been growing potatoes in containers this year, and they're growing well. I've noticed some small black dots and black ants moving on shoots, which was odd. Don't do anything. Don't worry about the ants. The only time ants are a problem is when they've got aphids as well.
Wait, I remember once we were at Yasin and Yusuf's house, I saw an ant's nest.
Okay, can you pass me that mouse?
You mean an anthill? Yeah, anthill. I don't know what it's called. Though it looked like a woodlouse is there.
Can you pass me that mouse, please? Thank you. Yeah, so don't worry about
ants.
Absolutely, don't worry about ants.
Axolotls are cool. They can regenerate.
I'm a little bit behind in the comments, so let's see who else has got a
Stop
comment. Stephen,
typing.
either little and often or once a week, depends on the plant needs it. There's Dean's advice. Oh, Dean Robbins is number one.
25 of you. The 25 of you who haven't liked, like it now.
So yeah, absolutely. If you haven't hit that like for me, there's 33 people watching, only 8 likes on the stream. So please hit that like.
25 people haven't liked.
It does help us out, and the same thing with our videos. If you do watch a video, just please make sure you leave a like and leave a small comment as well, and that'll help us with
that 20.
That'll help boost us in the algorithm rhythm as well.
How,
Do you leave elephant garlic in for 2 years? No.
I have
Elephant garlic leeks. They take about 8-9 months, that sort of time. So plant them in about September, October, early November, and harvest them around June, July.
I have 2 lovely trees.
Adam Heath, thank you very much for coming in from Stoke-on-Trent. Loving your channel. Thank you very much. That's very kind of you. So Sophie, you're in Hillsborough. Trying my hand at no dig, but resorted to a bit of digging for the stubborn weeds. Don't. I did a video recently. I did a couple of videos about improving soil health. So I recently took over a greenhouse, and the soil in there it's never been cultivated. So I dug that over, and I added some organic matter, some rotting stuff to attract worms and stuff. But I've also created a fresh no dig bed only about a month ago on half of my lawn, and that's mainly all just couch grass. But I've done that. The way I've created that is double, triple layer of cardboard, and then at least a foot of wood chips on top. So nothing's really going to get through. And if something does get through, it's going to be so weak, it's going to be easy to pull out by hand. But don't feel bad about digging at all. I mean, if you've got things like dandelions, dock, me personally, I'd dig it. First time round, I'd have no issue at all about digging it. Try using a fork to dig it rather than a spade. That way you're not cutting any dandelion roots in half. That's all I'd say. But yeah, first time round, no problem, dig it. I'm not one of those Nordic Puritans. Mohand AK, wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah, planted broad beans, and each plant it holds about 4 or 5 pods. Is it normal? Normally they have 4 or 5 pods at the bottom, and then as you go up they have another 4 or 5 pods, and then as you go up they have another 4 or 5 pods. So they do have quite a few few sets of pods. But as the plant grows, it will be producing pods higher up as well. So don't worry. So if you've got sign that the plant's growing and looking healthy, I wouldn't worry. So Leslie, I know I'm beautiful. I know you're talking to my daughter. Of course. There, hang on. Where are we going? So where else? I've lost myself in the comments. Let's see. Mani Ali, assalamu alaikum. I enjoy the videos. Could you teach us how to start beekeeping? I'd need to teach myself first. I mean, it's not something I'm experienced at. It's something that I want to do. So maybe if I ever start, then I'll do some videos on it. One issue with that is, sometimes I do videos around things, and they don't always do as well. Like, loads of people ask me to do chicken videos, and I started doing some chicken videos about hatching eggs and stuff, and incubating eggs and hatching them, and they've been some of my biggest flops over the last. They've been some of my worst videos in terms of views over the last year. So I'm in two minds about. It's putting me off trying different things. Can you just pull that door shut, please? I love how your children help and work in the garden. Alhamdulillah, they're very good. They're good like that. So they've been out with me, helping in the garden, harvesting today. Dean, See, Dean, as soon as he eats pizza, he wants to come over as well. No, did you get that rat room? Dean, I'll tell you about the rat. Do you know, I've mustered up the courage to go and clean the thing, the compost bin. I cleaned everything out, packed it all up into containers, and I lifted the thing off. And guess what? The dead rats disappeared. So I got there. I mustered up the courage to deal with him, and by the time I got there, he'd disappeared. He's gone. So yeah, that's what I was hoping for, but he's gone now. I've got 900 litre fabric pots, which are currently growing potatoes. Once they're over, would you recommend replanting into something to keep throughout the year? Yeah, you could try carrots. Carrots is a good time to grow in a pot like that. Um, plant potatoes again. And then you get a Christmas harvest. Um, Depending on how deep the pots are, plant some beetroot, stuff like that. Plant some salad crops. There's loads of stuff you can plant in a 100 litre pot. You can plant loads of stuff. Shall I let him in? He's all right. He's all right. Let him in. Oh, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. You're okay. Come on. Oh, he's. So Ray, how are you doing? And the channel name's changed again. Ray, how are you keeping? Hope you're keeping well. As I'm still way behind. 3 months ago, that's probably the last time you were in. Sohail, wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. Thank you very much for coming in. Hope you're keeping well. It took you that long. Rat disintegrated. See, that was my plan all along, you know. For those of you that don't know, I've got this compost bin. It's a worm bin, and it's made out of an IBC tote. So what I've done is I've cut the top half off, and I've turned it onto the bottom, and the bottom part collects all the rainwater and all the compost juice and stuff, and it has this massive tap. So what happened over winter, over a few weeks ago, is I found a dead rat that had blocked, crawled into the tap and blocked the tap. And me, I'm scared of rats. I hate rats. I hate those kind of things. So I had to deal with it, and I left it, and I went to deal with it this weekend or a few days ago, and the rat. He disappeared. So the dead rat's he's gone. I don't care who's taking it, he's gone. That's all I care about.
Where did you find it?
I think updates with the chicken would be good.
Where did you find it?
I've done some in the he's gone, he's dead.
Okay, so where was it?
The thing is, I'm in two minds about doing anymore because the last couple of videos just flopped, so I don't know if I'm really in two minds about doing it again. A zombie rat will come back and get you. Do you grow cucumbers? I do grow cucumbers. I grow them outside, so I just plant them outside and let them do their thing. James, how are you doing? Thank you very much for coming in. Akhtar Sheikh, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Thank you very much for coming in. I had no luck making compost with used garden waste. I've got some really good videos on how to make compost. They'll take you through. Close that door. Close that door. They'll take you through the whole process. So go and have a look at those, and they've got loads of information there. As long as you get your ratios right between green material and brown material, you can't go wrong. Also, have you made a mascot for me?
It's an owl.
Let's see.
I used it with my out of the box book. And its eyes on its
right
ears.
In the kitchen. Yeah, see.
Right in the
Ray,
kitchen.
we've been doing that joke for the last. Oi, what was that? I don't know what that was. So let me just bear with me a second. That didn't sound good. Let me just I think a fuse is blown, so let me just go and check that. Have they all blown?
Yay! I am in charge here now.
No,
Aww.
you can't. Okay, you go and check on Zaki. So, I think no, that it popped right on top of my head. Let me just see what's going on.
So, this one's on.
There we go. We're on.
The one.
Okay.
What was that?
I don't know. But it popped right above my head, so I don't know why it went.
What's this?
Okay.
Did you see that? Did you hear that big pop?
Okay.
What pop?
Can you just close that door, babe? Can you close the door behind you? I can smell something burning actually.
The burning smell must be
Okay. Can you close that? Can you close those doors? So I've made all my hanging. Can you close that door? So I've made all my hanging baskets, and they're all hung up and plants used today. Got 70 apricot sparkle begonias, so they get some more compost and do some more baskets. See, I'm not very good with hanging baskets. I need to get some more. I need to get some more experience in growing hanging baskets properly, because I always grow hanging baskets right, and the plants grow upwards instead of trailing downwards. James, how are you doing? Thank you very much for coming in. I hope you're keeping well. Toyib Ali wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. This is the second year that I can't get rid of the rust off leaves on my pear tree. What would you suggest? First of all, whenever you see rust on pear trees, pick those leaves. Depends on what you mean by rust. If it's proper rust, or if it's just there's a small infection that can happen, right? That's as a result of an insect bite. The name's not coming to my mind. If that's what it is, then don't worry about it. But if it's proper rust, then any leaves that fall, make sure you clear them up properly. And there's treatment that you can apply in the winter. Nigel Clough, how are you doing? Thank you very much for coming in. Hope you're keeping well. Very well. Just waiting for the rain. Not much in Cardiff so far. See, James, we need some proper rain as well. We had some good rain yesterday, but just not enough of it. Have you paid the Lecky bill? The Lecky bill's paid fine. I mean, I heard a pop right above my head, so I don't know what happened. Well, my wife saw it anyway. I didn't have to. See, I like this supervisor role. You see, Dean. I remember where you made a video where you're doing no dig and put your food scraps on top of your bed and put wood chips and cardboard on top. How did it go? Did it all get composted? Any pests? Yeah. So instead of trench composting, if you're gonna do no dig, you can use that no trench composting method. So lay food scraps on top and bury them with a deep layer of wood chips. That did really well. I mean, I grew my beans in there. It was a couple of years ago I did that. So I grew my beans in there last year, and I'm growing my beans in there again this year. So yeah, the soils are absolutely really nice. Do you know? This it's taken probably about 7 or 8 years. It took about 7 or 8 years for the soil to turn into something that I'd really like. You know, that just like to play with. Before that, it was just sort of. Before that, it was clay that I was trying to improve, but now it's just getting better and better every year. And yeah, you just just eat the soil, man. Is that nice at the moment? Um, so Zach, you can hear Zaki crying in the background. He's just had a bath. I'm not sure he's wanting a bath. He's a bit tired as well. So Rahman Raja wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. Are you still in Pakistan or have you come back? Um, let's see who else has popped in. I think I've just lost myself in the chat. Nitra, just found your channel after trying to unsuccessfully do ginger for so long. The sun looked great, and now it's gone cold. But loving the tips, thanks. You're very welcome. Have you tried? Which ginger video did you watch? Because I did one on growing ginger from multiple plants from one root. and that's probably a better method than the original video that I did, and that's a much easier method as well. Christine, thank you very much for coming in and joining us from Essex. Hope you're keeping well.
Let me step. I will stay there.
Ishal Harmony Faith Name, how are you doing? Any advice on growing watermelon? Um,
I like watermelon.
can you keep those doors?
Oh,
Can you
okay.
keep those doors
Shut.
closed? What do you mean it hasn't changed? How big is your plant? They're very hungry, so give them lots of feed. So lots of well rotted horse manure into the planting hole. Give them plenty of space, and they need a lot of heat. Watermelons. Some people can manage to grow them in this country, depending on where you are. Um, I've not had much success with them because last couple of years has just not been warm enough for us. Um, so I don't grow them anymore. If I'd have planted one this year, I would have had a decent chance actually because we've had a lovely June so far. So Wendy's in Kent and we have constant rain for 3 days. Um, what's the forecast like? Because the forecast for us is maybe we'll get some rain tomorrow and then it'll be dry again for the rest of the month. Um, Supervisor role, the one where your wife supervises, is the one where I just hang about and everyone else does the work. Did you receive my email with the picture? I've seen an email come through. Do you want me to look at it now, or do you want? Well, shall I have a look at it now? Um, let's get that open. So Henrik sent something through. I've seen your picture of your chili. Oh, that's beautiful. Yeah, that's beautiful. Bell peppers coming on nicely. That's lovely. Um, so north of England, no rain for a week. Steve, see, we'd not had rain for from the start of June all the way up until about yesterday. And yesterday we had a good rain, but it just wasn't enough. I think we need a few more of those kind of rains. Um, Kath, how are you doing? Thank you very much for coming in. Nice of you to join us. Hope you're keeping well. Uh, Sahel, I did composting in a bin with a bottom cover with tiny holes so only worms could get in. I didn't put much carbon in it, and some pests made massive holes all around my bin. Actually ate through the plastic. Probably rats. Yeah, if it's going to be quite smelly and quite rotten, it's going to be perfect home for rats to come in. So yeah, the biggest pest that we get for compost bins are rats. But as long as they're not coming anywhere near your home and they're not causing you a problem, and you're not scared of them like I am, they're not a massive problem. Um, um, my peas are about a foot tall. Um, they're not growing any taller in 2 weeks. What's wrong? Have they got enough water? That's the first thing I check. If they're getting enough water, um, then if they're not getting enough water, they're not going to shoot up. So, give them a good water if they haven't been watered for a while. If they've got enough water, then I'd give them a little feed. So something like a nitrogen rich feed. So if you've got some nettles, rot them down and make nettle tea and give them a feed with that, and that'll give them a boost. If you want them to grow, whenever you want leafy growth to happen, something with a lot of nitrogen in it will give it that boost. If you want flowering, comfrey tea, something like that will help it as well. Say the Glover, how are you doing? Thank you very much for coming in. Where have I lost everyone? All my broad beans are ravaged by a black fly at the plot. And at my house, any tips, please, James? I did a video yesterday. Yeah, it went out yesterday on companion planting, and I was showing my broad beans. I was actually yeah. So I plant my broad beans in the middle of my garlic bed. So I grow a bed of garlic, and in the middle of my garlic bed, I'll have a raw broad beans. Um, Same with my onions. So I'll have an onion bed, and in the middle of my onion bed, I'll have a row of broad beans. My broad beans are about 5.5 foot tall at the moment. I'll probably pinch out the tips when they get a little bit taller because they're getting a little bit too tall to handle. So, but I've not I'm lucky enough not to be affected by black fly because of the smell of the garlic. I use a lot of so if you watch my companion planting video, that'll explain a lot about my use of smelly plants to disguise other plants. And I just use that's my when it comes to companion planting for me. That's what I do. I just use a lot of smelly plants. Pam Morrison, how are you doing? Thank you very much for coming in. I nearly missed your live chat. I hope you're doing well. Pam, we're doing great. We've had a busy day in the garden harvesting. Yeah, hope you're keeping well as well. Escobar, wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. I love the content. Any tips for palette colours? I've just got an allotment and have a few palette colours. Uh, Palette colours make great raised beds. So just one high, perfect height for a raised bed. If you want to make a deep bed, plant two or three high, and you've got a nice high bed for carrots. So yeah, absolutely fantastic for raised beds. Um, what size pots would you grow chili peppers in? Um, I put a picture up on Facebook of my first ripe chili for the season, and that first ripe chili is grown in about a 2 litre pot. And I'll be honest with you, that's one of my reject plants. So one of my reject plants has gone on and produced the first ripe chili, and it's quite a decent size one, but it's the first ripe one. Whereas the ones that I've grown in nice big 10 litre pots, they've put on the nice big healthy plants, and they've put on lots of flowers, and they're just starting to grow. They're just starting to fruit. I mean, the ones in the big pots will give me a lot more fruit, and they'll give me a lot more fruit for a lot longer. Like this one in the 1 litre pot, I don't think it's got a lot of life in it. It'll give me these couple of chilies that it's got on it, and then it'll die after that. I don't think it'll do too well. But the ones in the big pots, I think they'll produce really well for the whole season. So if you're growing them in pots, I like at least a 10 litre pot. Um, and depending on the chili, like there's certain chili varieties that will grow 4 5 feet tall quite comfortably. So you want to give them a good enough pot to sustain that sort of growth. Something that you're not going to have to water every day. So check your chili type as well. But something like Basket of Fire, that's a patio chili, you can get away with that in a 2 litre pot, no problem as well. But it depends a little bit on the variety as well. My gardening has come to a halt with new job. Not enough time to the allotment. Weeds are about 8 foot tall in my pot. Oh no, Ray. Um, but congratulations on the new job. Yeah, it was smelly, but I composted everything, including meat, bones. But I regret not putting more carbon in. See, I compost everything. In all my compost piles, I stick everything in. I'm not bothered about following the rules. Um, but unless you have a balance, you're just going to end up with a smelly mess. But even if you end up with a smelly mess like that, take that smelly mess out and stick them in the bottom of planting pots. So if you've got like a 5 litre plant pot that you're trying to fill it half with that smelly stuff, and then put your compost over the top. And then by the time the roots get down to that smelly stuff, that stuff's going to be broken down, and the worms are going to love that stuff, and they're going to feed your plants. It'll be beautiful. It'll be brilliant for holding on to moisture and stuff like that as well. So it's not all bad. You can still use that sort of stuff. I would now um the air. Do you know I put an air? I added a couple of air tubes in some of my hotbeds and some of my um indoor compost bins. I don't think it makes a difference. The key is to turn it. Um, unless I don't think that sort of yeah, I've seen what they're doing with the bioreactors. I don't like them. Um, I think you need. I think it do you some good as well to go out and turn a compost pile because it'll give you some exercise, and you can't beat that as well. Guys, if you haven't hit that like, we've got 37 people, 25 likes. Please hit that like for me. It really does help on the algorithm. Um, Thank you very much. When are you doing a cooking video next? Pam, I don't know. Is there something that you want me to do? Um, yeah, I saw the video. I could have done that earlier. Does anyone use any spray type that fixes? Neem oil. Neem oil's good. Soft soap is always good as well. Um, Wood ash is good. But be careful with wood ash and don't do it on a windy day. and make sure you wear a face covering because wood ash is extremely alkaline. It'll melt pretty much any insect that it comes in contact with. So wood ash is good if you can be quite precise with it. But if you're gonna just chuck it all over everything, you could end up damaging some friendlies as well. But wood ash is brilliant for as an insecticide. Um, so let's see who else is here. The lamb curry made at Eid. Okay, so Eid's coming up. Um, Eid's coming up. We'll see. Let me see if we can get something for that. Yeah, yeah. Just 1 second. I'm be, I'm being I'm being robbed. I'm being robbed. um, so for canned chili peppers and cucumbers, what size pots would you grow them in? And I can grow them in even small pots, but I don't want to limit the plant too much. With cayenne peppers, I'd give it at least a 10 litre pot. Um, Cayenne peppers, I grew some last year. I grew them. They grew to about 5 feet high. Um, yeah, cayenne peppers will get big if you let them. Cucumbers as well. At least a bucket size pot. Yeah. Um, so uh, let let me try and fit something in, Pam, because um, I'm having a bit of a thing at the moment because I do videos that are not strictly gardening, and those videos have been flopping for me, and they're setting me back on the channel. So the minute one video flops, then as soon as I try and put out another video, it doesn't do as well because the previous one didn't do as well. So like I did some chicken videos, loads of people asked for them. I did them, and they've got hardly any views. So I'm having a bit of a contemplation at the minute whether I'm going to carry on doing different things other than just gardening. But let me have a think about the cooking, and I'll sort something out. Um, I'm so excited. He's speaking about 10 liters or 10 gallons. I'm just saying because a lot of people get confused. I speak in no, when I say liters, I mean liters. Um, yeah. We don't use gallons as a. I've never used gallon as a measurement in the UK. Um, so Ian, how are you doing? Thank you very much for coming in. Hope you're keeping well. Um, so I didn't realize you'd done chicken videos. I'll go looking for them. Um, Yeah, so Laura, we did some videos on we got some eggs. So there's a video about us getting the eggs and incubating them, and then hatching the eggs. So I was gonna do basically what I wanted to do was I wanted to do a series following those chicks, all the way through their life cycle until adulthood, and I'm gonna be building a chicken hut and doing that sort of thing soon. Uh, but I don't know that maybe well the Euro Cup could be having an impact because um, we we normally have quite probably double the amount of people that we've got in here at the moment. Um, Maybe the weather's having an impact because yeah. Um, Sale no problem. Yeah, so I must have a little plant syndrome. My chilies and peppers ain't getting any bigger, about 9 inches tall. What am I doing wrong? Okay. So are they in de- are they in a decent sized pot? Do you know how big a pot are they in? Um, are they being kept? I know we've had a good string of weather in June. I mean, my plants have only really started taking off since probably the last week of May. They've really started taking off, put on a lot of growth and put on a lot of bulk. Some of my chili plants are actually only starting to take off now. Some of them were stunted because they got attacked by what is it, green fly and stuff like that. So they survived the greenfly attack, but now they're only taking off and they're recovering. Um, if they've got enough room, give them a feed, give them something with a bit of nitrogen in, and that'll give them a bit of a push. I mean, one little trick that you can do is if you've got some chicken manure pellets, take a handful of chicken manure pellets and dissolve them in a bucket of water, and that'll give them encourage them to put on some leafy growth. Um, and and if even after all that it's not growing, you know, pot them up, pot them up, give it or check the roots. If the roots aren't developing, give them some loose, fresh compost around, and hopefully their roots will stretch out into that. Um, I got one eye on you and one eye on the footy. See, I was well surprised. I'll tell you now, right? I didn't even know the thing was happening. Um, I didn't. Yeah, I didn't even know the thing was happening until a couple of days ago. Then I heard England were playing. I'm like, what game are England playing? That's how out of touch I'm at the moment. I didn't, and this whole thing calling it Euro 2020 is throwing me off. Because we're not in 2020. I know it's like a makeup of the year that we missed, but yeah, come on, don't confuse people than we already are. Um, um, I'd be interested. I bought a second-hand coupe, but I've no idea what to do next. Okay. See, I'm gonna be making a coupe out of pallets. So I'm gonna be making a brand new coupe out of pallets for the chicks. Um, um, you said put anything on your compost, but may I ask what system do you use? Bin, pile. I talked about the pile already today, so I just go for a large pallet bin, and that's it. Everything's a go. Um, how much would you put in one go? I stack as I go. Um, I've done a series on the way I compost using the pallet bin system. Um, so go and check that out. It explains everything. It'll show you the whole process. Um, what's the best week feed for carrots? Mine need a boost. You want something with a bit of phosphorus. If you can just get a bit of bone meal, that'd be good. Just a bit of bone meal and a bit of banana feed. That's what I'd go with. Dilute the banana feed though. Um, yeah, that's what I'd do. Um, yeah. Home allotment veggie beds. How are you doing? Thank you very much for coming in. But carrots aren't. Is I'll agree, I'll say something to you. I don't think it's been a good year for carrots actually. My carrots are struggling. Um, yeah. So my carrots in my wheelbarrow that normally do really well. I normally don't ever feed my carrots, but they're struggling in the wheelbarrow, and the ones that I did in pots, even in fresh compost, they seem to be struggling as well. But don't go for a lot of nitrogen type of feed, because that'll just send the roots crackers. Um, Home allotment veggie beds. Thank you very much for coming in, Tony. How are you doing? Tony's done this massive rhubarb video, so if you like massive rhubarb, do check that out. Um, Tony, I saw you on YouTube 360 actually. I was in on the second day when you were there having a chat. Um, yeah, I'm coming for pizza. I'm gonna call it a day in a few minutes. Just hang fire. So
Hello.
the pizza's here, guys. Yeah, I
Hello.
was I was in there earlier in that day, in that same room. Some of the same guys having a bit of a chit chat in there as well. Um, I want to attempt composting again. I still anything but my parents are making me get rid of the bin, since there's holes everywhere. Um, see, I make it out of pallets. Yeah, I've got a Dalek bin, and the bottom's removed, so everything can come through at the bottom anyway. But yeah, I've never used the dollet bin yet because I like the pallet system. I really like the pallet system. Um, I just got a compost bin, loads of seeds. I just got a compost bin and loads of seeds. So hopefully, um, how do you germinate avocados? Tony's got some brilliant videos on avocados. I don't grow them. Laura, you take care, and we'll see you soon. Thank you very much for spending some time with us. Um, Sky, how are you doing? Thank you very much for coming in. How's the rest of the gang? Pound for Pound TV, wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. Guys, so that's it. We're going to call it a night here tonight. Um, pizza's here, so my daughter's calling me and pizza's here. There we go. So I'm going to leave it there for this one. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.